All right, everybody. This is Next Play. I'm Kendall Vickers,
I'm Judy Jackson.
and we have a special guest with us today. Her name is Jill Thompson. She is a senior leader for Inheritance of Hope, a nonprofit organization. We're going to get into that a little later about what they do and the amazing things that she does for their community. Um, Thank you, Jill, for having us. I know you've been busy and giving us your time today. We'll never take that for granted. Welcome. Thank you for being on.
Yeah, I'm so happy to be here. Thanks, guys.
Yes, no
Absolutely.
problem. No
How did you
problem.
guys
Yeah.
meet? I know you guys met at
Yes.
an event. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So we met in Orlando. Actually, my neighbor, Susie,
Mm,
which she's amazing,
mhm.
had actually invited me to your guys' gala a few months back. And she had texted me probably, I'd say about a month later, saying, "Hey, we have another event coming up in Orlando. It's kind of a big one right here. So we would love to have you kind of show you around and show you kind of the things that we do for these families." I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. I was like, I'm sure I'll be able to fit into my schedule somewhere. So we end up going, and I was able to meet pretty much everybody there. And I was speaking with Jill. I was able to talk to her a little
Time and
bit. You can kind of uh, fill in for the people where we met as well. So, and kind of what you guys do and your role and everything.
Yeah, well, it was fun to meet you, and that was a great event. The Legacy Retreat in Orlando is always really special. So, just to back up a little bit, Inheritance of Hope is a nonprofit that serves families when a parent is diagnosed with a serious illness, like stage
Mm,
4 cancer or ALS. So, we run towards these families so that the whole family feels supported. So, the diagnosed parent, their caregiver, spouse, and then their kids. When someone is diagnosed, there are a lot of resources for that person and maybe even for their caregiver. But we specifically look at the entire family unit and make sure, number one, they can make some amazing memories together because they still have time. And we want to make sure we make the most of that time. And we
right.
also want to give them tools to navigate these really hard things, help them learn how to communicate better as a family, learn how to express their feelings. And the thing I'm most excited to talk about today is really to help those parents make the most of the time that they have left. So we talk about, maybe you've heard a lot of people talk about leaving a legacy and what does that look like? We're always thinking about how do I want to be remembered when I'm gone? I even like to think about building a legacy. So the opportunity while we're still alive, really focusing on the living part of it rather than the dying part of it, and thinking about how can I make today count in a way that it does outlast me, but it allows me to be a better person today and to do things that matter a lot to me so that I
Mhm.
build something. Just to back up even further, and this is where Kendall and I connected because my involvement with Inheritance of Hope is very personal. We started back in 2007 because my best friend was diagnosed with terminal liver cancer.
Mm,
And at that time, her kids were 6 months, 2 and 4. So they were very little. And she was faced with this terrible prognosis where doctors said, you're going to die. And she thought, how am I going to help my kids prepare for this? Obviously, while also still like fighting and wanting to be here as long as possible. So she did all the treatments and chemos and radiations and surgeries, and God gave her 9 more years. So that was like an amazing
um,
miracle.
wow.
It was on her
Yes.
30th birthday. She died when she was 39. Um,
Wow.
but during that time, we started Inheritance of Hope because she was preparing her children for this and realized, oh my goodness, there's so many other families like mine. So let's make this a thing. And now it's a thing. And you got to come experience the thing, Kendall. It's a thing
Yes.
that's doing all the good stuff for a lot of people. So pretty
No,
That's
awesome.
it was
amazing.
amazing. And like you mentioned, the kid, just seeing the kids, it was cool to see because that's such a traumatic thing to experience as a kid. Losing,
Mhm.
parents, whether it's singular or both. Um, and to see just the expression on the kids' faces and them able just to have a good time and just being able to run around, get on the dance floor. People were getting face paintings, they were getting some jewelry. They had the stuffed animals. It was really cool just to see just the smile on the kids' things that you're doing, because it's not just Orlando that you do. How many places you guys go? I was talking to some people. It was like, yeah, I'm from California. I flew all the way down from here. I'm
So
from Colorado,
it's
Texas.
not
I'm
just
like,
in Florida then. Okay.
no.
Yeah, we serve families from the whole nation. So we've served families in every state, and we bring them. So there's lots of programs we offer. You got to experience a legacy retreat, Kendall, and that's a magical thing where families come together for the weekend and make these memories and have this fun. And legacy retreats are awesome. In fact, there's one happening right now in Dallas, Fort Worth this weekend. We have one coming up in St. Louis, Nashville, Minneapolis, St. Paul. So we do them all over the nation because families just have to get themselves there. And then everything is covered by generous donors. So their park tickets, their lodging, their meals, they get volunteers that cater to their every need. All of that is covered by generous donors. So we try to offer them in many different areas of the country so that it is accessible to everyone. A lot of people do like to come to Orlando. Obviously, it's a favorite place, but the one in Dallas, Fort Worth, they're going to the rodeo tomorrow night.
Oh, wow.
Cool. So it's really special. But besides the legacy retreat, we also offer programs like online support groups for every member of the family. We offer Hope Hubs, which are local gatherings that happen in an ongoing way in different major cities. But the thing I'm most excited about today is our programs that involve legacy, which is legacy songs and legacy videos. And this is particularly unique because anybody listening to this podcast, including you guys, but all of your listeners, the legacy videos and legacy songs are accessible for anybody. So you can sign up and make a legacy video or make a legacy song at no cost. There are no strings attached. It is a gift from us because we value legacy so much that we want to make sure everyone is considering building this thing that makes them proud. And so obviously we offer them to our families because they have a terminal illness. There is a sense of urgency. But honestly, all of us, regardless of our health, we really should be more mindful of building something that is impactful and is intentional. And so legacy videos and legacy songs are pretty awesome because on our website, you can go on there, sign up for a slot that you like, and meet with one of our legacy video coaches and record something that you're proud of, that you can tuck away and watch in the future or give to your loved ones. And heaven forbid, if you're not around, they'll have that sweet treasure of your mannerisms and your voice and your thoughts for them. So we're really proud of that. It's something that I hope everyone takes a part of. You can go to inheritanceofhope.org and look at legacy video and sign up anytime.
Just to be able to lean on somebody and to lean on people who care and want to do better for a lot of these kids. It's tough. And there was one kid I met there. He had to be at least be 15 or 16. He was in high school, and one of the guys that walked up to me, he's like, "Hey man, like this one kid, he plays football, and he really love to meet you. It would really make his day." And I was like, "Okay, yeah." I was like, "No problem." And go over there and talk to him for a little bit. And he was like, "Hey, this is the guy I was talking about," or whatever. And we had a nice little conversation. And those 15, 20 seconds that we took out just to talk, and I asked him a few questions, and it really, you could tell it really means a lot to the kids. Looking at their child talk and have an actual smile on their face and do all that stuff like that. So it was cool to see. It was cool to see. So
yeah, and what I love about that story, Kendall, is and you're taking a few minutes to talk to that 15-year-old. I mean, you're also building your legacy, which is pretty cool, right? So you've done something that's impactful in life. You played professional sports. It makes you somewhat of a celebrity to this sweet kid too. And the fact that you took time to engage with him is something you are planting like a seed, in his life that is part of your legacy, which I think is really cool as well. You mentioned something about bringing them all together. And I think that's something I've seen over the years where you have families going through these hard things. They might have a really great support network at home. They might have awesome neighbors and church and family, and they're all getting, rallied around with meals and support. But there is something really special when they get to engage in community with other people who really get it, who are walking like the same journey. Because even their best friend who is there with them and is being a good friend, doesn't really know what it feels like to know your person is dying or to be dying yourself, you know? So there's something sweet about sitting in a room together with other people who really get it. And that's a real gift of all of our programs for those families. So I appreciate you naming that. I think it's powerful. And it happens in all of the settings that I mentioned for all of our programs.
That's awesome.
Do you mind if I tell you this story? You made me think of it because of your sports story, but I was talking to a dad that had ALS, and he was in the prime of his life when he was diagnosed, young kids, and just, you know, with strength. And he was kind of crying out to God, like, why have you sidelined me when I'm in the prime of my life? And, you know, he wrestled with that. And then he felt God kind of saying to him, son, I'm just now putting you in the game. So I think some of us have this mindset of like, I'm not rich enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not famous enough, my health is tanking right now, I'm dying, whatever the sorrow people are walking through. Listeners, they might not have a terminal diagnosis, but they might have just gotten fired, or you know, they're not as skinny as they want to be, or strong, or they're not, whatever.
Wrestling with something, right? We all wrestle with something. Yeah.
Totally. But it might be like, you know, you're still alive today. Like God woke you up, put breath in your lungs. So you have a purpose. And so for this dad to say, like, he felt God nudging him, like, I'm just now putting you in the game, when he felt like this ALS diagnosis had sidelined him from life. And it's like, oh, wait, I do still have an opportunity to do something that counts. And I have seen people from a hospital bed make more of an impact because of their intentional living and the way they pour into people and what they choose to say and how they choose to live, that they make more of an impact from a hospital bed than some of us make from a stage. And so just that mindset of intentionality is really powerful when you're considering legacy. And I always want to cheer people on. Like, I feel like that's I want to be a cheerleader. That maybe should be my title. Cheerleader for life. Like, we have an opportunity today to make it count. And so, Kendall, you did that with that kid at the retreat. You know, in those 5 minutes, you made it count.
Yeah, absolutely.
He'll remember that and bring that to, you know, whoever's going through something, he'll remember that moment and take time to give that same moment to someone else.
I was growing up, I was a huge sports just fanatic. You know, it didn't really matter what the sport was. So I can only imagine, and this is kind of the take that I have for a lot of athletes that are in these types of situations. I would be devastated if I met whoever my hero was at the time, to meet them and then them to kind of blow me off or have just a traumatic experience with them, as far as just me wanting to get to know them, because these are like superheroes to me at the time, right? This is like, you know, 6-year-old me, I couldn't imagine me being whichever sport it was, going up to a guy and being like, oh, he just blew me off. And that sticks with you forever. Yeah, I know a lot of people don't understand that in that moment, but it really sticks with you forever. So I always try to, regardless of the situation, obviously if I'm meeting with my family and stuff like that, it gets a little murky a little bit. If you have time, sign a ball, have a conversation. Like it literally doesn't take any time or effort.
I've never heard of this organization, so to me it's very impactful, because there's a lot of resources for different things, but I've never heard of, you know, while you're going through an illness or a relative that's dying. My mom was diagnosed with cancer back in the 80s, and thank goodness that she was in remission and she never got cancer again. But I remember when I was little, I was 5 at the time. My brother was 4 and my oldest brother was 15. It was rough, you know, on my father. And I just only wish we had those resources to get through that, and to go through something as traumatic as losing a parent at a young age. I can't even imagine. So the fact that you guys are doing this to help make either a transition smoother or just being there is huge. And it should be known around. So my question to you is, where else can we help as individuals to get the word out? Because you said you were in Texas, Florida,
Everywhere,
eh,
it seems like.
yeah, are you planning to, is there something in the West that maybe we can start, announcing this or bringing it to light even more?
Yeah, thanks for asking. We are already in the West. We serve families from all over the nation, so from every major state. And in fact, I appreciate you sharing your personal story, which I'm glad your mom did okay through that.
Yeah.
The statistics are so staggering. When you hear, you're probably going to be shocked, but it's 1 out of every 20 children will face the loss of a parent before the age of 16. And that's to terminal illness. So that's like every classroom of kids. One of those kids is going to lose a parent by the time they're 16. And the more I talk to people, the more I realize, we've heard from other organizations that our number is pretty conservative. It's probably even more than that.
Right.
So yeah, first of all, you asked a good question. How can people help? If you know of a family that the parent gets diagnosed with any stage 4 cancer or ALS or Huntington's disease, any disease that's incurable, if they still have children in the home, doesn't matter the age, they should know about Inheritance of Hope. So for sure, the very, very minimum would be to point them to the website. But I would even take it a step further, because if they've got a diagnosis like that and they're still parenting kids, they are overwhelmed.
Yeah.
So you can even go to our website, inheritanceofhope.org/refer, and you can put in their contact info and we'll reach out to them and we'll see how we can best serve them. So everybody's welcome to do that anytime. Another way that a lot of people might want to get involved is we have volunteer opportunities all over the country. Like I mentioned, those legacy retreats are happening. They take, like Kendall saw, it takes an army of people.
Yes.
I can imagine.
Kids and face paint, do all the fun. And it's like going on a mission trip. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of hard work. You're very tired by the end of the weekend, but you also leave as the ones that are changed. You think you're coming to do the work and you end up leaving feeling like the one that got blessed the most. But we also have places for people to serve in our online groups and in our local hubs. So lots of opportunities to volunteer. And then, of course, I mean, as you've already probably guessed, with the nonprofit work, doing all that we're doing, it is all provided by generous donors. So if anyone is looking for a place to invest, and I'll call invest, not give, because you're investing in the lives of these families and in their legacies and in coming alongside hurting people. I'm so proud of our organization because our charity ratio is super high. For people who give, they know that a lot of times there's an equal balance there of where the money goes. We are so mindful and so frugal about making sure the money goes to the families and to the programs. So I'm proud of that. You can see all those details on the website too, but it takes a lot of people, generous people, to make it happen. And so if anybody listening, especially has like a foundation or some sort of corporation that likes to get behind philanthropic things that are doing very meaningful work, I'd say ask Kendall if it's meaningful, and feel free to reach out to me as well. But we'd love to have more partners and volunteers and supporters. We can't do it without a bunch of people, and it's pretty sweet to be part of the Inheritance of Hope community.
It's a village to build a community, for sure.
For sure.
Yeah. There was so many volunteers when I went. It was crazy. I was expecting something big, but I didn't really realize how big it was, I guess, until I saw the families come in.
Yeah.
And I saw everybody piling in because I got there early.
And you got wheelchairs and
and they just started rolling in, and you saw the family sitting at all the tables started filling in, and then you had Kendra Scott, they had the jewelry section, and then you had the face painting over here. I didn't get my face painted, but
I did.
Oh, you did?
Next retreat, Kendall.
Yeah.
Next retreat. I like that goal. Let's do it.
Yeah. And then you had like the stuffed animals over here, and you had the dance floor where kids were just running back and forth. It was a really good time, and many of the adults that were there as well were able to see just a smile on some of these kids' faces and even the parents.
Thank you, Jill, so much for joining us. We're gonna make sure all of your information is on our site and your website and any information that we can provide so everyone can get involved.
Social media as well.
Absolutely. Are you guys on social media?
Yeah, we're on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook.
Awesome.
Perfect.
We'll add that too.
We also have a podcast called the Inheritance of Hope podcast. So I encourage people to check that out. You can hear personal stories of impact from
Yes.
families directly, and you can learn more about our programs that way too.
That'll
Absolutely.
be great. Thanks, Jill, again for joining. And what you're doing is so impactful. So keep it going.
Thank you very much for having me, guys.
All right. Thanks,
Absolutely.
Jill. Talk to you soon.
Okay.
Bye.